Top of the morning to you. Hey, I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Rue. Thanks for being on the show Monday morning. It's May 9th. Is it May 9th? I put that down there and then I thought I should have looked. It is May 9th. Woo. Man, where does the time go? It's like, where does the wind go when it blows? Who knows? Love to have you on the show this morning. Thanks. I'm going to say hello to a few of you who've jumped on early. I'm sorry I was sharpening my pencil there. Who needs a pencil sharpener when you got pocket knives all over the place? I had to get my pencil sharpened just a little bit there. It's just I've got a bird. I'm going to draw a picture of a bird and I'm going to put it in the window downstairs, not to pull any in, but to scare some off. I might just put this rooster in the window. Top of the morning to you. Here, let me go back to my picture in picture. There it is, right there. That's my. I'm drawing this little. Let's call it a tufted titmouse, because he has taken up residency in the by the hummingbird, on the hummingbird stand where I hang my hummingbird feeders, and so they've sort of quit coming around for a day or two. Hope you're doing well this morning. Let me say hello, and then we're going to paint a little bit today, and I'm going to paint a rooster, of course, because hey, I'm Rue. Last name is Hahn. It means rooster. People go, oh, I get it. I've been following you all this time, and now I see why you're so obsessed with roosters. I'm not obsessed. They're just easy to paint, and they're caricatures. They're characters. They are the farm bard. They're the poet of the farm. They strut around. They see things. They observe it, and they make statements. Sometimes those statements are humorous. Sometimes they're supposed to be humorous, and they're not. Not a whole lot of sarcasm. There's just not a great place for sarcasm in art. There is a great place for encouragement in verse and word. There is a great twist of humor that people sort of focus on their own. And I live in that block, I think. And I don't think that's anything that I was schooled in. I just sort of stumbled into that block on how I communicate. My family communicated in storytelling. And so my art must portray stories. It's as simple as that. I'm going to paint a flower only if that flower tells me a story. If it was my grandmother's favorite, if it was my father's favorite, if mom liked it, if it reminded me of a bad high school dance, something that connects me to the flower. Now, and because I'm not that good a flower painter, I can paint a cup of flower. Oh, that's a different spelling, isn't it? All right, let me jump in here and say hello to some of you. And Denise Albright, good morning to you. Jason Nichols says, hey, I'm watching during my live prep, so that tells me he's at school. That's awesome. Glad to have you this morning. Deborah Spangler, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. And Jean Jimerson and Thalzer. There's K. Marie Piker, got a K in front of her name this morning. K, like people do on text. K, I'll see you at 7-Eleven, K. I don't text, so I don't know. Lori Stanley, Handelmeyer Henderson, Steve Catlett, top of the morning to you, Rue Crew, Beverly Schmidt, good morning Monday. Beverly Schmidt, I know, and now is in Greenville, South Carolina. Linda Schleitney, good morning from beautiful Ohio. It's a beautiful day here, but I'm telling you this right now. As you can see the sun reflecting off of Dan's house. It was 47, 48 degrees last night. And for Charlotte, you know, I got the vest back out. Well, this is not really an insulated vest. This is my Banana Public Keep This Shirt Clean a Little Longer vest. That's what this one's called. Cindy Wiltermood, thank you for being on the show. Always love to see your art. Karen Binder, Jackie Williamson Wallace, Jamie Ziegler. That is a lot of O's you put in. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Everyone, hey, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate that you've been on the last few weeks and have followed along. Blessings to you. Art is in your future. I'll guarantee it. Man, I'm drinking good tea today. It's Taifu, and they're not a sponsor yet. They could be. Okay, I drink enough of this stuff. I thought about getting a haircut for about 2 seconds this weekend, and then I went, what the heck? It's just money I'd have to put somewhere else. I'm searching for a vehicle. You know, my old truck has died. Tamberly Marie, thanks for being on the show. All right, creativity and classroom time. Love that, Jason. Susan Peters, thanks for being on the show from way upstate New York, where the trees are beautiful. The maples are unbelievable. Love it. What paper towels? That's a good question. If you do have a question, I'll answer some on Mondays. Just throw start it with, in case I miss it, I'll go back from time to time and I'll hit my search key, hit QQ if you want to, capital Qs, and I'll just put one in the search window and they'll pop up. Paper towels, Viva, Bounty, cheap ones that I don't like the designs on them because then it looks like I'm trying to paint something, and but I don't really care. I do care. I don't like cheap paper towels, just like my watercolor paper. I don't like, I use the word cheap. Let's just go, well, no, I'm good. This is a good definition of the word cheap. I don't like cheap napkins, tissues, TP, paper towels. If you're going to buy paper, and we don't have much paper here, the only paper towels we buy here are for this: putting bacon in once it's been cooked, cleaning out the cast iron, and me painting with. Everything else, the paper that's it. I mean, that's our paper towel purchase here. No paper napkins in our house. Carol doesn't use them. We use cloth napkins. She's done that since I married this woman. She goes, there's just no paper in our house. No paper plates in our house. Just we have some hard plates that are kind of a hard plastic that the grandkids use when they're little. Now they use the china just like everybody else. It just is that thing. Just don't like to eat with plastic utensils. And you go, yeah, but I have to wash them. And I go, I don't know. You know what? This is true. This sounds very Queen-esque and rich, but it's not. It's we eat with silver every day. I love the feel of real silver. Yeah, seriously, it's in the drawer, and it's not like, oh, I got to go get the silver and shine it up. No, it's just used. Don't put it in the dishwasher, but we hand wash it, and it's just there. And it's called Romance of the Sea. It's the handle on it. See, I know that kind of stuff. And so that's us right there. But the paper towels are a Bounty or a Viva, are great towels to wrap up and use as blotters. You know what? It's just what you get used to. However, what I was going to say, as I interrupt myself because I'm fast brain, is the better they are, the better they will soak up water when you're trying to paint with them and trying to use the brush correctly. And also for spills, if you haven't had a spill yet on your desk, that's why I have this down, because I'm on an old pub table here. Pub desk is probably 100 and something years old. I'm trying to keep a lot of paint off of it, but it's no big deal. Come on, it's just watercolor paint. And this table, it will outlive me, I'll promise you, unless I decided to saw the legs off and make them onto something else. So watercolor paper, for sure. Don't buy cheap watercolor paper if you can help it. Do I just want to paint on something that's rascally inexpensive and cheap sometimes, especially when I'm out and somebody hands me a menu at a restaurant and the back of it is blank and they say, hey, I'll take that back. And I go, no, you won't. You gave it to me. You're not going to use it again. I'm going to sketch on the back of it. And so those are some that show up sometimes. So good morning, everyone. Let's see, from Beverly Meyer, Barbara Meyer. I'm sorry, Barbara. Tamberly Marie. Susan Peters, the one with the curved lines he just had. Oh, yeah, well, that's a different one. Okay, so Susan, I don't know what towel this is. I think this is a Viva with a design, but it didn't come with this paint on it. I actually do that, and I use these things until they are just done. I let them dry out and use them again. Tamberly Marie, Pat Lightbody, thanks, Burke, for being on the show. Love that little picture in your picture there. Linda Linhart, Javine McCabe, Sue Kane, all the way from South Australia. And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. Patricia Brooks. Boom. Pat, thanks for being on the show. Pat and I share a book together called Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle for artists. You can find it on Amazon. Was able to share our roof skills with two wonderful ladies yesterday, waking up to paint. All right. Love it that you're thinking like an artist. Deborah, that is fantastic. Good job to you. All right. Let's see. June Jones, Ruth Fulton, all the way from the green fields of Ireland. You know, I love it when people pop up in at other time zones and say, I think I want to see what these people are doing. Thank you so much. Lynn Swain Brown from Illinois. All right, let's move ahead here. Trish Brown, I see you on the show. Wow, a lot of people here this morning. Thank you so much. Viva, yes. Cindy says she likes Viva. I do too. And I like anything that has a lumberjack on it. I'm just kidding. Julie Walden, thanks. Kathleen Johnson, good morning to you too. Janice Scott. All right, here we go. Terry Tardy, look at that. Traveling last week and missed you all. Terry Tardy out in Coos Bay, Oregon, a Potter friend of mine who, Terry, somebody asked me about turquoise the other day. They said, is that the Terry Tardy turquoise? And I went, well, there you go. Somebody who watches the show. I call this Terry Tardy turquoise. It's really Edwards turquoise, or it's, that's not his name, Andrews turquoise. And he's a friend of Joe Miller's, and Joe named it that. But I call it Terry Tardy turquoise because she told me one time in person in Orlando, I bumped into her family at a big event down there, and she said, turquoise is my favorite color. It's also my wife's favorite color, and someone caught me on that the other day. They said, why, when you paint a rooster with a brush in his hand, do you always paint the brush with turquoise? And so, I paint this little rooster that sort of goes pretty quick, just like this. And I'll just kind of show you how one comes out really fast when you're painting like this. And I paint his hand up here like this. I call it his hand. And I come out and I put on a little brush like so, drop the pack down. And so when I paint this and finish it all out, I always go in here with a little bit of Terry Tardy turquoise, I call it, and I always just paint that brush in turquoise. And someone said, can you tell us why you do that? And you know what? I don't know that I told that on the show before, but I do it for this purpose. It's my wife's favorite color, and it just reminds me that she started me in art. And so there's a little bit of her in every painting that goes out. And so it sounds kind of... some would say, oh, romantic. And I didn't think of it as that. I just thought of it as a little memory tool to go, she really got me started in art, and it has been a complete passion. I had no earthly idea that would be like this. Okay, so there you are. Good morning to you all. If you got a question, what I'll do is I'll throw a Q in the search. Boom. Jason says, my father used to work in a paper towel napkin factory, so I grew up spoiled with quality paper towels. There you go. Isn't that amazing? I love it when that happens. Okay. There's always a reason for something. And so I think, hear this out. This will be maybe a kind of an important thing I'll say on this morning's show. There should be reasons for why you do what you do in art. Don't just, even your doodles, you ought to just go, hey, I think I'm doodling this to turn it into something. There ought to be a why that pushes you there. Now, sometimes it can be mindless on the phone, and you're just doodling something. But at the same time, I doodle in things that make sense to me. My doodles even tell story. I showed you one the other day. This is when I came in from cutting the grass, and this is something I rarely do. I doodled on copy paper. However, it's not 20-pound copy paper. No, it's 20 to 24-pound copy paper because I can't stand cheap, inexpensive, thin copy paper. So I even buy copy paper. So I painted these two little figures lying down here, and just to say, I don't hardly ever do figures, and I just sketched it with a fountain pen. In fact, I used this fountain pen right here. Boom, that's it. And it says, whoo, just got the grass cut. I told you I was arguing with the yard guy, but I am the yard guy. So so I was talking to myself as I was cutting the grass and how I should cut it. When I got the grass cut, the rain started. Just as I got the grass cut, the rain started. So it can grow, and then I can cut it again, and then it rains again, and then I can cut it again, and then ... And so there's a glass of iced tea sitting out there. And so that's kind of what I do. All the paintings to me have a reason. There's a why. So if you start asking yourself, why am I painting this little bird today? Then I'll tell you. And I will do that bird in just a minute. So let me put on some music. And I dug out this book this morning because there's a word here that I thought would be a good word for us, especially those who have followed me for so long. The word is called epigoneumic. Epigoneumic. It's spelled like this: E-P-A-G-O-M-E-N-I-C. E-P-A-G-O-M-E-N-I-C. This is my book of more weird and wonderful words. It's not my book. It's Aaron's book, Aaron McKean. And sometimes I'll just go in here and to get my creative juices fired up, which are hard to fire up unless I'm solving something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve a why for what kind of rooster would be looking at this. And I grabbed a Sharpie. Jason, you'd be proud of me. It says fine point, but it looks like I was maybe marking the concrete with it. So epigoneumic, E-P-U-G-H-M-U-N-N-I-C, epigoneumic. It means denoting days left off the calendar. Now you're thinking, what's he talking about? You see, all day, like some of you follow the calendar. Like Pat in some of her work will follow a calendar. She'll say, "Oh, today is Boxing Day," and she'll draw bees boxing. Or today is take a necktie to the pawn day. I don't know what those days are. I don't have those days on my calendar. I don't have anything on my calendar except places I need to be, because if there's any other thing on my calendar, it'll confuse the stew out of me. I told you I was ADD, ADHD. I'm fast brain. And so I just need a clean calendar, except for there are days on my calendar that are just my epicommunic days. Okay, so the epicommunic days on my calendar are days that are my personal days. They're my, ready for this? Holidays. What's a holiday? It's that white space in watercolor. It's that space that happens right in here when you don't paint anything. It's that space where it's good for people, but it's great for art because it gives it light and it gives it space to breathe. That's what a holiday is. That's because my dad called it that. But I think if you look it up, you'll find that it's probably a true thing. In this case, what's a personal holiday? I'll tell you what a personal holiday is. Here's a personal holiday right here. I haven't had enough of these in a while. I haven't had enough personal holidays in a while where I have had the opportunity to just, and it's because I haven't taken them. I got to wake my paint up here just for a little bit, grab a little spray bottle and say, "Wake up!" Just so I can paint this a little quicker here. Just spraying a little clean water on this pan. This is a Van Gogh box with half tins in it. And so I'm just going to come in there and grab a little bit of quick paint, and I'm just going to paint right in the book over the rest of the words because I love doing this so much. Why did I use a Sharpie here? I used a Sharpie just because I didn't want to mess with any ink drying on the book pages. So just going to grab this real quick, and I'm going to show you what an epigomenic is. Epigomenic, and it's spelled Epagomenic. If you have the book, it's on page 30. Some of you actually have this book and you've been painting out of it, which cracks me up. I love it that you're doing this. This is a fly rod. It's green like mine up there on the top of the desk drawer or on the top of the shelf. And I love painting stuff like this because it makes me think, you know what? I need a personal holiday. When I had a birthday, when I was a young kid in school, I would take that birthday off from school. I wouldn't go to school on my birthday. And people would say, you can't do that. That's not, the state doesn't recognize that as a holiday. And I go, the state doesn't recognize me anyway, unless when I get older and they want my tax money, they don't care who I am. So I'm taking my own personal day off. So I'd take a birthday day, and then my mom, I've told you some of this story, my mom would write me a note, and she would say, "Please excuse Mike because he was homesick." And they would say, "Oh, do you feel better?" And I said, "No, I wasn't sick at home. I was just homesick. I just wanted to stay home. It was my birthday. I go fishing on my birthday." And so that's just one of the things that I used to do when I was a kid. I go fishing on my birthday. So there is a great example of using this for mental health days or anniversaries or birthdays. I need next Tuesday off because it's a epigomenic day. Epagomenic, epigomenic day. And that M-E-N is pronounced M-U-H-N-I-C-K, epigomenic day. So if you need one of those, that's how you take it right there. See, you learn something every day that you tune in on Rude Doodles. You might, or some of you are turning through your calendar right now going like, oh my gosh, I know what day is going to be my epigomenic holiday. It's my, like, oh, doodah day is a great day to take off. Okay, just take off Doodah Day. Take off any day you want that's your personal holiday. Maybe it's a religious holiday. Maybe you just need to sit and read. Maybe you need a day to go down to the river and sit with a fishing pole and not even bait the hook. Just sit there. And people say, "Catching anything?" And you go, "I don't want to catch anything. That'd be like work. I just want to sit here and just watch the bobber float. I just want to sit here, and sometimes I just go and sit. And those are refreshing times for me. So this is one of those holidays. So I found that word and just didn't want to throw out any word. I wanted to say a word that's meaningful to me. And I could spend some more time on this beautiful painting that I've done here today. Maybe just to put a little brown Sharpie in there, put a little bit here, kind of come back. I'm going to get his eye cleaned up just a little bit there. And let this dry. And so suddenly I am back into painting a book. Why do I do this? Well, here's the reason. Because it just starts off my mind in a solving something that I thought I was going to have to be creative, but I'm not. I solved a definition of this word for me. I need a personal, not public, holiday. Those are holidays right here too, inside here where I didn't paint. Okay, you guys know the story of that. So that's how I use this book. All right, I'm going to put it over here and let it just dry right there. And then let's get busy on something else. If our kids receive straight A's, they got a day off of school, they could choose. Well, that's a cool thing. Miss Carla, I have to do a doctor visit every Monday now. I'm so sorry that we're missing you live, my dear friend. I hope you're cured, whatever it is. So blessings on you. I'm going to use that one to get a day off. There you go, Jason. TikTok Jones is on the show. Brenda Sprinkle Tucker's on the show. So thanks for everybody jumping on. Sharpie siding, yeah. My neighbor doesn't have grass in his backyard. He has AstroTurf. He does. And it's crazy. It's great for him. But when it rains, I get all the water. So there. All right, let's paint something here. You know what? I got something to show you. There's a Tifted Tutmouse who has taken up. I think I said that right. I've been painting hummingbirds in the spring. I paint hummingbirds. Let me show you one that I painted. Here's one that I painted right here over the. I just sat down and did this little hummingbird real quickly. I did it with, believe it or not, I did it with this and this brush right here. You're gonna love this brush when you see it. There's one of them. Here it is right here. I did it with these two brushes right here. I left them in the dryer too long. Also, I have three of them actually. So there's the normal American Journey Cheap Joe's Art Stuff brush, and this is a 6, a 2, and a 4. And those are little brushes that I drop down in my bug out bag and take those with me. Here's a normal brush size. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just drop it in my pocket, especially in the vest pocket that I have on here. And that's a great way for me to keep a little paint. The lady asked me at the bar of the restaurant yesterday we go to, and I was having my Sunday brunch. Once a month we go to this place called Trios. I don't know why they call it Trios. It's just one restaurant, but I took our granddaughter there yesterday, and we sit at the bar because we like to see the person make all the things that go into this big French wood-fired oven. And so, but I had buttermilk chicken and collards and grits, and that's my Sunday brunch thing there. And so I always paint something. And yesterday I painted her the painting that I had done, a little painting for and several of the people in there have these little paintings, and I always carry small paper around like this, and I painted her the little hen with the fascinator dragonfly that I painted because of the Kentucky Derby. So that was kind of fun to do. All right, so let's talk about these birds here. So I took my little paints and I did this, and I had these brushes there, and she said, "Oh my gosh, someone told me about your little tin." I said, "You mean you need an Altoid?" And I opened it up. She goes, "Oh wow." She said, "My daughter is an artist. Can I take a picture of that?" And I said, "Well, this painting is for you." So I gave it to her. And so I said, "I expect you didn't see the Kentucky Derby because you guys were working." She said, "No, we did not." But I said, "Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I love it when just the things line up for someone to win who wasn't even picked 80-1. And it's just fascinating. I'm thinking how great it is. I'm not really a gambler, but I just thought how fun it is for the people who thought, I'm just going to take Rich Strike. He's 80-1, but I'm going to put $1,000 down here. Wouldn't that be fun? So I love that very much. So I came in and I was painting these little. So I used this. She wanted to see the brush and she wanted to hear about whiskey painters. And so what I did was I just came in and I got these little brushes and I touched my drink. And so I asked them for a thing of water. And I said, could I have just a little clean glass of water? And they go, I got a paper cup over here. I'm going like, no, I need glass. And they're going like, seriously? And I said, yeah, you don't understand. I've been trained. And so a little terry tardy turquoise in there. And so you can see I'm adding to this little bird right here. And I'm going to show you a couple of these this morning that I'm working on. And then I started painting. I was going to paint another one because I've been watching the hummingbirds come in. They're feeding at my feeder until, that's what started this whole thing. It was taken over by a tufted titmouse who says, there must be another bird in the glass because he's been fighting the bird now for 3 days, okay? Maybe 2.5 days. And so he's come in to just be completely obnoxious. Here he is right here. Take a look. There he is. This little video is not rolling really well, but you can hear him. There he stands. This is where I hang my hummingbird feeders. And so he just gets all over everything and messes up stuff. Here he is right here, if you can see this one. Let's see if I can get this one up here for you. Hold on. Hang on, I gotta show you this. Let me see if I can stop it and just pull it up here in front of this. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe I can. Here we go. We'll try this. There he is. There he is right in front of the glass, and he's not real happy, as you can see. And you can't hear him here because there was some, this is a double pane glass, but the other one is not. So he's going like, hey! So I've been trying to, my hummingbirds were flying there for several days, and now they're just frustrated with this guy because he's fighting his own reflection in the mirror. And if you look out on the rooster weather vane, he's sitting up there. But then watch, I'll scroll back because I've seen his number. He goes to the feeder, gets a seed, and then he'll come right back to my hummingbird feeder, which is here. Watch. So I'm getting ahead of him. There he flies in, boom. And then he bounces off the window and hits it about 100 times, does his little Peter call, and so everything else goes away. So that's what I've been wrestling with. So I just decided to paint hummingbirds, and then they all flew away because the tufted titmouse came in. But hey, it's not a bad problem to have when you feed hummingbirds. Here's the ones I did. If you want to see, I actually did this one first, and I think he's my best. And he is, let me see. And so I'm going to show you how I do this right here if you want to know how to do these little splatters on the tail. So I thought I'd do one just really quickly for you and let you kind of say, oh, is that how you paint them? Look, I'm not a realistic painter, okay? There's a great story in art. There's a great story about a man one time who went to a gallery. And it happened that Picasso was standing in the gallery, and he said, so this is your work. And apparently the guy was a soldier, and so Picasso was showing him some great respect, and because normally I don't think he did that to a lot of people. And so he said, yeah, and he said, well, I don't like art that's not, I just don't like art that's not reality. That's not reality. And so he said, well, okay, everybody has their style. And he said, yeah, I just don't like art that's not reality. And so Picasso's looking at his art, and he's looking at his art, And so he sees the guy over a little later in the gallery, still walking around, and he sees the guy showing someone a little photo. And he takes the photo out of his jacket, and so Picasso apparently leans in and sees it's a picture of a woman, and he says, oh, who's she? And he says, oh, that's my wife. I always carry this with me, and especially as I serve, I carry this picture. And he says, so yeah, you're the guy who doesn't like anything but reality, right? And he says, I was expecting your wife to be larger than she is. And so the whole concept of that is I don't paint birds as fine art reality paintings. You know what I'm saying? Where they look like photos. I paint them in my Rudoodle style. And so I wanted to show you how I might paint one that's in my style. So I want you to learn to paint birds in your style. And some of you do. You do beautiful birds. Sue Kane, you're making a dent and probably going to leave a big old hole, as I call it in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. Make a dent, leave a hole. You're doing that with your flower paintings. It's your style of touch. that it's just, it's a painting and you just see that transparent paint, and I love it. And so, Denise, you do the same thing. There's so many people. Cindy, you can paint anything you want, but I want you to know that I have learned something about painting in my own life. The better I am at the eye, the better I am at sketching. And so I think I need to practice more eyes. You know how I used to say all the time, you want to get better at painting eyes or feet or a wing or a beak or something on a bird or a flower petal, paint it 50 times. And that might just be your start, 50 times. You might have to do more than that. So the thing about it is that these birds to me have to tell a story. They're saying something. See, this one, in all his little, hey, I like the way the colors blended and bleeded, but you know what he's saying? He's going like, let me see. There's just something there that catches the caricature and the character and the, not cartoonish, but the rudoodleified style that I have, the same as in my roosters. They say things that humans ought to say. They're a reflection of my storytelling. That's why I paint them. I hope that's clear in helping you, which is what I do on Patreon all the time with our Think with an Artist monthly class. It's we dig deep into saying, please don't be on here and paint without asking yourself why every now and then. Why am I doing this? Oh, I just love art. Well, then if you do, find 20 minutes every day with a cup of tea and doodle something and just practice eyes or practice claws or practice feet or practice dogs or practice flower petals and look at what other people do. And maybe even pastiche is the French word for that. Maybe even paint some of what they paint like sometimes until your own style develops. There's a point where you say, hey, I don't want to just forge other people's art. I want to know what's in here, and what's in here, head and heart, that comes out into what I want to paint. Does that make sense? All right, so here's the third one that I did, and he's just kind of a blue stone. And so he's a little bigger one, but let me just grab a little piece of paper here and show you what I'm talking about. I'll paint one this morning, just kind of fun. I got time to do a little hummingbird. I like this size. I'm betting that this, without measuring it, I'm going to, if I find my tape. Used to have a measuring tape. I'm thinking this is probably what, 4 by 5.5, something like that. Look at this. Here's 4.25 by 5.5. Okay. What a perfect size. What a perfect piece of paper to carry around. Now, remember, if you were a whiskey painter and you were one who carried a small tin of paints and a little brush like this and a small little water container, something that you've stolen from a very exclusive restaurant that served me pancake syrup in it. Don't you love the sound of this? Then you could paint everything you needed right here, like this. That simple. I don't need anything else on my desk. You could do that. I could paint this on a piece. This is painted on watercolor paper, but I'm going to demo a different one for you. I'm going to paint a piece on mixed media, I think, and I haven't done this in years, probably since 2000, well, a year and a half, 2021. I used to carry mixed media paper on the show because it was easy to do. Let me just try one on here and see what happens. This might help me show you how to do these little splatters that are right here. See these? That's what I'm going to talk about doing today, these little splatters. So the bird is tiny. And so you can pencil the bird, or you can just be gutsy and maybe do the bird with a pen. Here we go. Ready? Oh, my gosh. Let's see. First of all, I'm going to start with this beak because I probably need some music here. Don't you think? I think I need to have a little music here. Oh, yeah. All right. Jason's out. Jason, have a great day, buddy. Remember to get it out of your head and onto the paper. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. So this is on mixed media paper, and going to paint it like this. Just draw that little beak out here like this. There it is right there. Just kind of come back like so. Maybe a little thicker here at the bottom like that. That's pretty good. It's got a little bit of a bend in it. It's just tweaked a little bit. And then his head is just sort of a slight little round head like so. I could build that up a little bit if I wanted to. And I'm going to come in here like that. That's not too bad. It's looking okay. And I come in, he's a little bit of a curve out here. And then we've got his chest that's going to come down. and then a little dip, just a tad dip here. And then right here, I'm going to stop and I'm going to create a wing, and I'm just going to blow the wing out like this. Just kind of let it be rough. See that? Can you see what I just did there? Just kind of let it go out here. I'm not worried about scale right now. And then I might just come right here and put another wing over this way. And it's going to go out a little so it looks like they're separated a little bit. See that? So I didn't want to do one right over the other. Look, I don't do a lot of these. This is new for me too. I've done probably 15 or 20. I haven't even broken my rule. Like lobsters, I did 120. But hummingbirds, I don't even think I've done probably as many as 50 yet. So this is probably still in my 30th hummingbird, something like that. Okay, so now the eye of a hummingbird starts kind of a little round eye right here, but it's got some little bit of a slant around the side of it. And so then I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to use my pen and just darken that in. See, when that eye comes to life, let me close in on that just a little bit here. Let me do a little more close up on this. See if I can focus this on the top of that pen. There's a little bit of glare in my film lights here. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. So that'll give you a little bit right there. Okay. All right. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to just start putting some color in there, and then I'm going to see what happens. And you can make his head whatever colors you want. Hummingbirds are, I'm going to do mine kind of the eastern hummingbird that comes in here. He's a ruby-throated hummingbird. He's got a green head, a lot of green, a little bit of blue, gray, a little bit of, what do you call it? Bluestone probably in his wings. A little bit of turquoise. I'm going to use some French gray, and on all those colors are right here. You know what? I don't think I have any bluestone in there, but all right. I'm going to take this little, just because I'm doing everything little today. I love it. I'm 6'5". I weigh a lot, and I'm not the smallest person in the world, okay? And I love the fact that I like little tools and I like little pieces of paper, and so it just makes me laugh sometimes. And this paper is going to paint differently than the other paper that I painted on. Why? Just because I said it would. No, it's just made that way. It's slick paper. It's like a hot press, but it's a vellum, has a vellum surface. So Chris Whitaker on the show, you would love this paper. And I know you've painted with some of this before. We started our early classes with this and Kilimanjaro. This is just a Swarthmore mixed media paper. And I think it's about 180, let me look and see, 184 pounds. Well, that was the last piece. Throw that away. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in with a little bit of blue, and I'm just going to roll some blue up in there. Oops, sorry. I'm going to come in with a little bit of turquoise and put some of that in there. That's a lot, so watch this. I'm going to erase some of that. There we go. Just get rid of some of that. And I think I want to come in with a little purple and just touch a little bit of that there. And then I might do something really differently, just wet my finger and just roll this up into there with my finger. Get that really rough looking thing of those wings. And we'll take some of that out too. So I put some in, took some out. I mean, grab a little bit of some green and just bring it in here like this. Maybe just some green back here like this. I like that music. It's kind of how my brush is moving. Da, 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 da. Kind of fun. And I'm going to grab a little bit of I'm sorry. It's all right here and I keep reaching over there. I have the same paint right here. But I just want to show you that I can do this by sitting at the table, watching it when the hummingbirds come in. And so I certainly can't paint them while they're there. It's like, would y'all stand still just for a minute? But you get an idea. I'm adding a little bit of red to this ruby-throated just to take some of that purple out. There it is. You would think I'd learn by now, right, how to do this? I'm afraid I'm not. All right, so there's a little bit. I got to watch my video monitor. I'm sorry. Okay, a little bit of this. Put a little bit of yellow right in here. And I'm just letting this run together. And then I want some of that French gray. Here's a little bit right here. I think I'm going to get rid of some of this yellow and put a little more French gray right in there. Just a little bit of that color. And then I want some darker down in. I want some darker green down in these tail feathers here. And so I might come in here and grab a little Payne's Gray, which I know is a little bit right in the lid here. Oh yeah, look at that. And that Payne's Gray mixed with some of the blue and the green. are giving me the colors that I want to happen there. I'm liking where this is going. Yeah, he's kind of looking pretty cool. Sorry you got a little bit of a glare in him. I'm going to take a smaller brush. Excuse me, I got hiccups. Take a smaller brush. This is, look, could I get much smaller than this? This is a number 2. Remember, I sketched this with a Kakuno fountain pen, and so we know that that fountain pen is going to bleed on this paper. How do we know that? Because it's what we do when we're just sitting around having tea. We go, hey, wonder what will happen if I put this pen on that paper and touch it with a wet brush. Make a mental note of it. Or if you can't remember the mental note, do it over and over until you remember it. Or just finally say, okay, I got to write that down somewhere. So make an actual note. And so what will happen is that you'll say, hey, when I use this pen on this paper, I can let it sit there for 5 or 6 minutes before it dries because this is a vellum surface and the ink just lays on the top. If I put this on a piece of watercolor paper, I've got to get to, and I want it to bleed, I got to get to it a little quicker. Does that make sense? Sometimes I just use a ton of words and I go, what the heck is he talking about? He doesn't know. Okay, a little more ruby throat in there. Just grab that just a tad, and I want a little more bright orange or yellow, just right here to make that pop. And look, I'm not trying to paint feathers. I'm just putting this in here and letting it run together. But I told you I was going to show you how to do these little splatters like this right here. Okay, these little splatters. And you're going to go, you're kidding me. That's not what he did. Yeah, I think he did. All right, we'll bring a little shadow in on this wing right here, just like that, because it's over there behind this wing. And I can always come back in with my fountain pen. There's a couple things that are happening on this paper that I hope you can see. Can you see right here? Do you see there's a little hard line coming in right there where the ink has pushed up into the green and it's created a little bit of a hard line. And I love that when it happens. It's just the coolest thing to me. That's the things that you cannot create in watercolor by just being too careful. You just let it go. Now I'm going to bring down a little more eye here, like so. I love this. He's getting there. And then here, look, I'm just doing some dots in here like this because it looks like those little purple ruffled feathers right on the end, underneath his chin, if a hummingbird has a chin. I don't know. I don't know the parts of the hummingbird. But I love how this is beginning to dry now, and I can actually use this pen on top of this. And now I'm just making little marks that I don't really know if they're there. I'm not looking at another, well, my drawing's over here somewhere. Here it is. I just threw it back over there. I don't know if these are correct or not, but neither does anyone else unless you're into ornithology to a degree that you go, oh, you've really messed this hummingbird up because he would never be flying like this. And you're like, look, I'm drawing a story here. I'm painting a story. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And people go, I don't understand how you can get away with that. And I go, it's not getting away with it. It's my style. It's just who I am and how I paint. And so I'm just going to put a little, and you know what? I don't like that blue. I'm not going to put that blue. I'm taking that blue out. I might take that blue out of my palette. I don't even have that blue over here. And if I would stay in the right palette and move that over, stay in this, I'd have what I'm looking for. A little bit of black. I'm just going to go with some black right under here like this. That's a little too much. So let me get that napkin again. This is my eraser. There it is right there. I'm going to put a touch there. Now I'm just going to get a drop of water and put the water right there. Just clean water and just let it start to go. All right. One thing about this piece of paper, it's not going to hold the intensity of the colors as much as watercolor paper does, okay? So if you're looking for it to be really bright, you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to add a little bit over this because this is going to become a little more opaque. The opacity is going to go falling out because of the vellum finish. It's not going to pop as much as watercolor paper. You're going to see the difference. Look, see how this one pops, the other one doesn't? Okay? None of us are going to use a ruler to measure the proportions. and if anybody, if you ever go to a place where a person says, wait, we're going to have to take the architectural scale out, and you're going like, I'm in the wrong place for me. I love that, Pat. Good word. Indigo buntings are fun. Sue Kane has different birds. She has a wren but it's the Australian wren, and he's blue, and he has a tail that's kind of split. And talking about a personality, that bird, I love to paint that bird. I haven't much because she paints it really well, but I do love that bird that you have. And Ruth, I'm sure over in Ireland you have some birds that we don't have here that you could probably teach us all how to paint sometimes. I'm going to add just a touch of yellow right under here on this lighter side of this wing, and just a touch on the tip of this one here. Now I'm going to just make those little marks that I told you that we were going to do, okay? Painting a hummingbird. Who would have thunk it? If I told you that the blacksmith had come in out of the cold because he smelled like metal, his wife said, and started to paint hummingbirds or roosters, I would have gone, nah, you're crazy. I'm not. There's no way I can be an artist. There's no way I'd even think like an artist back then. And now I wake up and sit at the table for hours and just go, oh my gosh, you mean I got to go do something else, like go cut the grass, and today I got to go work out a deal for my car. I'm buying something to drive, which is a good thing, good thing. My truck has served its purpose. It has, like I said, its shoes held out like the Israelites for 40 years. I bought the truck brand new in 2004. Now I got to go figure out how I'm going to, and I'm not buying a truck anymore. I think I'm going to buy a small little SUV and just put my camera gear, my painting gear in it. Okay, so there's a little hummingbird. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, the hummingbirds do love the, as a blacksmith, you already thought like an artist just with metal. Yeah, there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. So, all right, so here we go. Now I'm going to take this little brush, and it's tiny, so don't get carried away. So here we go. Just take, well, this is the same brush, but it's got a little longer handle to let me splash. No, I said I was going to paint it with these, and by golly, I'm going to stick to my guns here. Where is my little brush? Here it is right here. Okay, so I'm going to take this little brush. And I want some of these little spots to be blue. So I'm just going to take a little damp brush. I'm going to wet it here. Can you see what I'm doing? Now you can. Look, I'm putting it in here, just clean brush, getting some clean water. Then I'm taking it down here and I'm just touching it a little bit on its side inside my blue ink. I'm not jamming it in. I'm just touching it around the edge like so. And then I'm going to touch it back to the water just a little bit. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get some soup on the end of this. And now I'm just going to take another little piece of paper here, and I'm going to see if that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm going to take a pencil, like my splatter. Oh yeah, that's going to work. Okay, a little more water maybe. All right, let's try that. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to take this in right here, and I'm going to come in here where I think there should be a little splatter around the wing, and I'm just going to go tap, 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 tap. And now while those are still wet, I'm just going to go blow on them. Ta-da! You just turned them from little dots and splatters like I do in some of the sky of some of my roosters into this little motion. And now they're moving a little bit. So I like it so much, let's try a little bit of yellow in there with them. So a little, wet my brush, go into the paint, just roll it around on its edge a little bit, dip it back in, get just a little more water, get some of the first little whack out. I want to get that out of there. Okay, that's a good one. Put it right in there like that. And then go grab them before they dry. And just blow them all over the place. And look, now I've finished. I'm done. I'm not going to do any more, because if I try to do more, then I'm going to look like I forced it. What I could do here is I could find here would be something fun to do if you don't mind taking a clean brush. If you're drinking tea, dip it into your tea, and then just do a little splatter with some of the tea. That'll work pretty well. I'm using a number 4 watercolor brush. All right, so here it is right here. I've got a pencil. I splatter like this. Here's ground zero right here. Okay. I take a little color, I take it like this, and I hold it about, that's about 2 inches above the paper, and just give it one of these. And sometimes I turn the paper so they all get randomly spaced out. So there's a good example of doing that. And so then, of course, I'm just picking it up and blowing on it, and I'm getting those to move out. So I'm showing you what I'm doing. Here is I'm dipping it now into my tea. Move all this around so you can see it. I pulled in so close, it's hard, but I want you to see what I was doing. Okay, I'm dipping it in my tea, and then I'm just going to take it over here, and I'm just going to splatter some light tea spots around, because that color is so perfect, and it literally, it tastes like blue. I'm just kidding. Okay, so there we go. Give a little more in here, and then I wish I had some blue stone. What do I have here? Oh, there we go. I'll just take some Payne's Gray and put a little more shadow in the wing like that. I needed just a tad more shadow. Felt like I got a little of that wiped out there. Yeah, that looks good. I just shadowed him a little bit with that, and that'll dry just a little less. Okay, and I want one more touch of green. Sometimes you don't know when to put the brush down and back away from the easel, but I'm getting there. Okay, and I want one more touch of yellow. Just a little touch of yellow right underneath the eye right there. And I'm done with that hummingbird. So there's my little hummer. Okay, so after painting 3 or 4 of those, here's one, here's one, here's one going the other way, which I'm going to put a little doctoring on his belly and a little more color in him. So there they are. So how fun to just say, bring the hummingbirds in. Cue the birds. I love it when that happens. Let me lay this down and I'll paint one rooster before I'm out of here this morning, because I have to have one rooster. I may throw these into a little bit of an auction coming up, and I'll come up with, you know why hummingbirds hum, right? I think that's on one of the first captions of a hummingbird I ever painted. Why do hummingbirds hum? Because they don't know the words. That's why I hum. I sing parts of songs all day long. I woke up this morning singing a song from 1971, Stephen Schwartz, called Godspell. We plow the fields and scatter the good seed on the land, but it is fed and watered by God's almighty hand. This is bluestone right here. I'm going to move this hummingbird over here and let him dry. I was talking about bluestone. Just before I signed on this morning, I was sipping my tea, which now tastes like turquoise. Not really. I had a clean brush when I put it in there, so it's just the tea I was splashing. This tufted titmouse, this perfect color for him probably is this color right here, this blue stone. So if you're looking for a color that looks like the tufted titmouse, it is Cheap Joe's blue stone. I bought this paint when I was going to Maine to paint rocks, little bitty rocks, and I thought that'd be fun to do. I need a little piece of, need some little dark in here. His beak, and he's got a little soul patch, but it's not on his chin like men do. It's up on his forehead. And then, of course, he's got to have a little bit of yellow-orange, which is going to come in right here. And he's got just a touch underneath this feather right here. And maybe a little bit of Payne's Gray, or maybe some buff titanium right in there would be good. And then maybe a little of the blue just to make this a touch more blue right there. And so there's a little tufted titmouse for you. See that I just did? And so when you're sitting around with these little 3x3 cards, yep, that's 3x3. That's a great little way to learn how to paint birds. The eye is so important. Okay, that's not a bad looking little bird. I could splatter him the same way. Just grab a little bit of something. He needs to be splattered with. Let's splatter him with a little bit of this green over here. Just kind of grab some on my brush, and we'll make that little area he's standing on, just some green right in there. Just put it in there like that. A little more water, and then just blow that out a little bit. And I just created a tree out of that. There we go. There, he's done. He's finished. And then so he's got a little more of a rough head up here, and that's actually not too bad, just with a pen sketch. Would have been fun to maybe do him in a pencil sketch, which I set out to do this morning. But sometimes when I set out to do things, I just don't do them. All right. Okay, I'm going to make sure these brushes are clean and get them out of the way. And then got any questions? What does turquoise taste like? Those blue mints that your grandmother had. That's what they taste like. Any tips for removing paint pans from your watercolor box. Mine are stuck. Jason, we'll have to tell Jason that I missed his question. But yeah, you can unstick those. I use just hot water on a little spatula. Or if you really want to clean out your whole paint pan, let's see, is it moving? Any tips for removing paint pans from your watercolor box? Yeah, if you want to really change over the watercolor box, take a little bit of it's just water. But if you want to take a little bit of a fingernail polish remover and put it on a little palette knife, like so, just put a touch on there and slide this under and let it break up the rabbit glue or the oil or the honey, whatever's in your watercolor paints. You know all those things are in there. Yes, it was scary if you knew what was in those paints. What the folks made paint out of in the good old days was, and there wasn't really any good old days. Yeah. Okay. I think at the alcohol store you can find out. Yeah, it's lots of hummingbirds here now. They're natives all year round. Yeah, that is true. Time I went out to California and Colorado. One morning I was, who won the Fascinator painting bid yesterday? That particular one was won by, I messed it up last night because I was trying to do it on my phone and I realized, oh my gosh, I forgot I had an auction going. And but I think it was a lady by the name of maybe Tammy Stedman, I think, had a higher bid. When I came to my computer, I saw it. So I sent them apology letters and said, I'm so sorry for saying this when it wasn't true. And she's someone that I think, met at in Orlando. And she said, hey, I want to start following you. I like to get one of your paintings sometimes. And doggone if she didn't. So that's always kind of fun when that happens. Hey, I got 5 minutes to paint. Let's paint it on something smaller than this. Let's paint on this. What the heck? Let's paint a little quick rooster here just this morning. And how about a rooster with a Lamy fountain pen? So here we go. Look at this fountain pen. You see where my finger slid across it right there? Isn't that a great sound? Wow. I could get pulled into this all day long. You know what? But I can't. Here's why. Because I have other work to do today. I have to edit video today. I got to work on a car deal today. I've got a consulting project that I have to go get ready for tomorrow. I'm not complaining. I'm very highly favored. Okay, so there we go. So there's a little Roo, and he's been painted with a Lamy fountain pen. One of my favorite pens, and I can paint. I really have to write hard with this, but it's made pretty tough. This one probably is close to 10 years old. Yep, 8 years old anyway. So now I'm just going to drop some water on here, like so. Just throwing it out here with a bamboo brush. I have a number 1 bamboo, and I'm just letting it sort of come in like this. Now, somewhere over here on my desk, I just have what you might have, just some Higgins black ink. Look, I've got India ink, I've got Yasutoma black ink, I've got, which I love, by the way, but I needed something with a dropper, so I'm just going to take this one right here, and I'm just going to, is there something specific, there's something special about the roosters that look back. Yeah, to me, they remind me of, this doesn't have a dropper, it just has a dip well in there. But I just want to grab a little bit of this black ink and drag this out as almost like a pen. Look at this. And just take it down here like this And when you're using ink versus ink in a pen versus this ink, you're going to get a different blend and bleed depending on how much water you put with it. Can't believe there's no music played here in the last couple minutes of the show. So let me just put on Cody. Doesn't matter that I don't fill in all the lines. What's the word I used this morning? These are my holidays. Impa. I'd have to look up the word again, but I loved it when I first painted too. Grab a little bit of red here. Get ready to call it a day. It's Monday, Tuesday. I'll see those of you on Good News Rue. Those of you who are part of Patreon, if you want information on Patreon, you can get that on the website. Or you can go Rue Doodles Patreon. And what's the whole point of that? Well, the point of that is it really helps support me and what I do. Gives me time to sit down and plan for what's coming next. Love it, love it, love it. There's a little bit of a rooster for you right there. And I think he needs a little touch of green right here on this black ink, and watch that black ink continue to run. One thing about watercolor paper and the Lamy is that it stays wet for quite a while, and so you're going to get a lot of marks. So that way I can just make them into grass. I can just turn up all that different. I love this brush so much. And then I think I need something just that brings a little different pop to it, and I'm going to put a piece of purple right in there, just like that. Then I'm going to grab this. Last thing I do before I go, I'm going to grab this and go kaboom. Right in the middle. Lighten that up a little bit. See that? I just pull some of that out of there. I'm going to put this away. So the word is epagomunic. Epagomunic, E-P-A-G-O-M-E-N-I-C, denoting days left off the calendar as your own personal, private, not public, holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, a mental health day, a day that says, today I'm just going to go fishing. Hey, one of the things I want you to do today, right now, as we leave the show, is take your, I like this rooster. See how fast that happened? Purple does add, doesn't it? Isn't that fun how that just popped up there? No pun intended. Patricia Crowder, thanks for coming on. Hey, grab your cup. Just take a sip. I'm going to look over here to my wall because I have all kinds of cards and names over here on my wall. I know who I got to send a note to right away this morning. So, blessings to you. May your day be blessed, and may you do something creative. Would you just consider doing that a little bit? Maybe there's a bird outside your window who's saying, do something. Put up a towel. I got to stop seeing myself because I'm driving myself crazy. But he's driving us crazy too. 3 days of going, bita, 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 bita. This is still rolling in a little bit. I'm going to grab one more piece of this paper towel off the trash can and just stop a little more of that bleed right there. And that is done. And here's our hummingbird for this morning. He's right there. I'll sign him and throw him over in the basket. But he turned out pretty well, huh? Not too shabby. Okay, so I've got 3 or 4 hummingbirds. I'm going to throw them in an auction. It's time to do a spring auction coming up. So we'll have a Friday night here soon where I sit down and invite everybody in with the drink of your choice. I'm drinking Builders. No, I'm not drinking Builders today. I'm drinking Thai food tea. Got to go have another cup. I might have some cheesecake for breakfast. All right. Blessings to you all. I'll see you next time right here. Which is Saturday for some of you. And I'm working on an interview of a young lady that I met at a little pop-up art show. She's a sophomore in high school. Go see if I can round her up today. And I want you to see some of her work. Inspired. Okay.